Hey guys, welcome to EPS ParaTalk. I'm Robert. I'll be your host today. I will be solo today. Unfortunately, Freddie's under the weather, so we'll get this rolling here in just a moment. Everybody starts jumping on. I'll go ahead and play a...
Do you remember when you crossed over?
So letting everybody else jump on here for a moment. Come on in. Let's have some fun. Again, I'm Robert. I'm the founder of Elite Paranormal Society. We're based in Keedysville, Maryland. I'll be going over discussing some information today, talking about more so like what happens when somebody gets affected on your team. Jeremy, thanks for being on. Maria, thanks for being on. Give a few shout outs real quick. As soon as my comments come up, it'd be great. William, thanks for being on. Marcy, Freddie, thank you very much. Suki, thank you so much for being back. Colette, again, thank you. Brian, thanks for being on. Guys, it's pretty casual talk. Typically, we're a little bit more interactive, but it's going to just be myself today. Unfortunately, Freddie is out. He is not feeling well. Robin, thanks for being on. Chloe, thank you as well. Typically, we're a lot more interactive. Today, I'm just going to be trying to keep up with some of your comments, but I definitely want to go over a particular topic, and it's when we're at a location and we're dealing with either clients or our own team members. What happens when something negative goes on with them, when something is influencing them? How do people deal with that? And I'd love to have your guys' feedback as well. If you've been at a location and something's negative happened to you, how were you treated? Very important. Again, to me, it's a very important topic, and I want to dwell on a little bit here today. So I appreciate you guys joining me. If you're new and you can throw in there, just type in new. I'll try to give you a personal shout out as we go through. Freddie, you can know yourself that you are definitely seriously missed right now. Carol, Sandy, thank you so much for being back. Charlotte, Sandy. Hope everybody's getting ready for the holidays. That's obviously coming up, trying to put that into everything. A lot of teams are cutting away right now just because obviously it has a lot of pull on you, but want to make sure we get into cover a couple topics. And last week's topic, we had our investigation. We had a pretty stellar investigation for anybody watching, and I will play, and I'm sorry to bore those that have been on my own page on our ParaTalk about an hour ago, but I'm going to be playing again, talking about this location that we had last weekend. It just brings it home so that you can have an idea. Thanks for being on, Sokol and Sandy. Thank you so much. It was a very verbal location. Justin, Amy, thank you so much for being on. Had an investigation last weekend with a resident. The residents were dealing with a lot of negativity in their house. Didn't know exactly what we were going to be up against offhand, but their children were being affected too, which that holds a heartstring with me. I like to make sure we take care of the kids, residents as well, but it's even that much more dramatic when the kids are affected. Doors, including the front door, bathroom doors, any doors in the house could just fly open in a heartbeat, which is by itself would not be as thanks, Sandy. By itself would not be anything too bad just with a door opening up, but slams, people being pushed. One person was pushed downstairs, causing him to break his wrist in 3 places. David, thanks for being on. All kinds of noises such as growls, bangs. Nadia, thanks for being on. There was crazy amounts of activity was happening, even to a point where one of the residents, she was bit while she was in the shower, not like a regular human bite. It was quite a bit. It was complexing, and it was definitely aggravating the kids and scaring the hell out of the kids so bad. And the adults can only do but so much. And if you're an adult and you have a location where something goes on, Dark Knight Paranormal, thanks for being on. Lauren, if you have a location where something is not going all as positive as you would like for it to go, unfortunately, as an adult, you can turn around and affect your kids dramatically. They're looking up to the adults in the location. Nadia, thanks for South Africa. We appreciate that. So it's really important that when people go out there and investigate, whether you're just having fun, going out with your friends, or you're actually going to a location where you have clients, our reactions mean a lot as far as to what happens, how they interact, and how they perceive things. And that's what I wanted to go over. I've got a clip. It's a little bit of a longer clip. It's 6 minutes long, actually. It's what happens when I end up taking a person. Mark, thanks for being on. I ended up taking a guest into a location where there was some negative going on, and the whole point about this is I want to talk about those that are running teams. I'm a founder of my team. How well do you know your teammates? Do you know when they're actually in trouble? Kimber, thanks for being on. Vicky, do you know when they're actually in trouble? Are you able to go ahead and tell as you're going through the investigation? And when you add it being in the dark or in low light situations, it's even that much more. In this location, because we had so much going on in this house, I really wanted to get to this place. The kids were being so scared. They were sleeping in the parents' room as well. And so I was going to go regardless. Unfortunately, I had a friend of mine, Bonnie, who was willing to drive up from Florida. Remember, I'm in Maryland. She drove up to meet me for this investigation so that her and I could run out to it. And she did a phenomenal job. But we definitely had the interaction that happened really says a lot. And I'll go into it a lot more. But knowing your teammates, knowing friends, knowing guests, you really want to start trying to, if you can, obviously before the investigation, as much you can know about them, but even once you get there, you really want to start listening and paying attention to personalities of people. In this case, I'm using Mark as an example, and I will play some audio here in just a minute or two. First one, just some regular audio. I love playing audio when we're doing live, so I thank you so much for sharing. Pam, thank you very, very much. So I want to play a clip or two. This is nothing negative. I'm asking a question. I'm always curious. What do they remember when they crossed or anything like that? So I'm going to ask a question.
Do you remember when you crossed over?
So I asked, do you remember when you crossed over? Then you're going to hear it. It says yes, the spirit. So it's neat that we got spirit and we're talking about crossing, but it really wasn't crazy definitive. Janie, thanks for being on, sweetheart. Janie's just will be my sis. She is our team medium. Stephanie, long time. Oh my gosh, went to school with Stephanie Levin. Thanks for being on, Stephanie. Appreciate that. Play a couple more clips for a minute. It's very light. That was a ballroom that we were in. People always ask about their pets, and I just want to play that. It's really, I'll boost it up. It's a dog with a very squeaky voice. Sound. Robin G. At the Masonic Temple, the one I just played for just a minute ago, we did have something extremely negative there. And Janie, since you just jumped on, I want to make sure I play this for you. One of the first places that Janie was attacked at the temple this is a clip just before we walked up into this location. And we go across it's called a ballroom. It's a big old wooden floor room. And I'm just introducing, we're getting ready to do that. And then at the very end, you're going to hear somebody talk. That's not anybody that was actually there. Any at the Masonic Temple, 128, 2017. We're going to be walking across the ballroom and headed upstairs to the dressing room. This voice is not ours. What it's saying is this could be bad. Of course, earphones help out a lot. Grace, long time no see. Glad to have you on. Thank you so much for jumping on. Dwayne, appreciate it. Dory, thanks for welcome back, I should say. As soon as my computer lets me go ahead and scroll back down, there you go. Yeah, I definitely appreciate that, Freddie. Unfortunately, I'm solo, so I'm not going to be able to go ahead and hit everybody as much as I'd like to. Abby, do you pronounce it that? Is it pronounced Abby from Malaysia, or how do you pronounce? I wish I could do your name better. I apologize if I just said that wrong. Elliot, thanks for being on. So those are some comm clips. We catch a lot of EVPs, and last weekend I was just talking about how we had such a very bad location in the sense that things kind of, we knew the clients were faced against it, but as a paranormal investigator, until you start experiencing it, you still have to go in with an open mind to try to figure out and debunk what they have been experiencing. The doors, doors opening up. First thing I want to do is I want to check the hardware on the doors. Did they shut properly? Do they, do they actually fit tight, or will they open up pretty easy? Certain times of the year, the wood will shrink because it gets so dry out. So you have to look for things like that. People talk about things, their cupboards opening up certain time of the year only. Well, that's a lot of times has to do with whether or not the humidity is high or low at that particular time of the year, and then they'll open up. Now, when they start closing by themselves, it's a little bit different ball game. So this one, we're always looking to try to debunk, but at the same time, we know there's a lot of people impacted. One person after another will feed off of each other. The kids will definitely feed off of others. Hi, Robin. Thanks for being on. Stephen, thank you so much for being on. Kids will feed off of each other. They'll also feed definitely off the parents, so they want to know what the parents are going to do. When we go to a location, we want to make sure that the clients or even our other team members don't end up feeding off of us in a bad way, and that's what I want to get to, because we had some situation come up. This location was bad. I'm going to end up using one of the people at the house, Mark. Mark was awesome. Mark was willing to do anything that would help his brother and his brother's fiance get their house back and make things better. And so we ended up doing an investigation. One round was down in the basement. Bonnie was with me, and we had some lights twinkling on and off, nothing that we were really solid about. So we'd already planned this. We've already planned it with Mark. We're going to go ahead and change out, and we're going to bring Mark down. And this is a great example of why I want to play this, is because this really kind of shows where you need to be in tune at with if you're going to use clients. Some people don't have clients at their locations. If they're going to go to a location and they want to investigate, they remove the clients. I'm the opposite. I like having clients there. They're the ones that have to live with it, and whatever's there is already affecting the clients. So I'm not trying to change the chemistry. I want the chemistry to be there and see the interaction. The kids, I do move out if I'm getting ready to remove something, because at that point things are probably going to get a little bit, probably a little more negative would be the expectation. So what I was talking about in the last hour was, when I get to a location, we do the introductions. We bring our equipment in, set that all out, whatever we're going to do, we try to get set up. But I have to have time with the clients. I got to be able to sit down with the clients and go over some rules. Some of the rules are the normal ones, no whispering. But one of the big rules, safety-wise, is I need to know when they start feeling different. That's very, very important to me. I definitely need to know. I want them to tell me. Nadia, I just saw that. I appreciate the invite. Jen, thanks for being on. So one of the rules I set down is I want to know if something changes with somebody who's there, and that goes with my teammates also. My team members really need to keep me clued in, especially if we're going to a negative location to work with somebody. I want to make sure that I even know what's going on with my team members. In this sense, it was a rush. We pushed them up on the schedule. I didn't have anybody really available except for Bonnie, again, from Florida. She went ahead and drove up from Florida to meet me up in Maryland, so we could go to West Virginia to help out a location. We went to that location knowing, again, there was things, but I have to see for myself when things are going to go negative. So we go into the basement, and I want to go ahead and end up playing this clip with Mark. Again, it's a 6-minute clip, but I'm going to break it down. But I want you, when I go through this clip, I want you to listen with my interaction with Mark, and then also Mark's responses and how he's acting. And that tells you a lot. And it's the same thing really people should be doing when they're going to a location. They really want to be conscious of how the other person is acting. In this case, you know, I was teasing Mark, calling him bait. He was my bait for the night. I apologize, but sometimes it's nice when you have that nervous energy to go ahead and pull something out. To be very effective, this worked great. And I definitely appreciate Mark so much for what he did. He definitely stepped up. But listen to his tone of voice at first.
Something gonna be whatever in back there. Okay. Gotcha. You're just gonna play the flashlight now? There's another flashlight on. Can you turn them off, please?
So Mark is asking questions, doing the right thing. He's there. He's definitely nervous, but he's asking questions. You can hear his voice. He's going up and down in his tone.
Mark, how are you feeling, buddy? You okay? Nervous. Okay. Anything besides nervous? Any issues? Short breath? You okay? I'm good for now. Okay.
So again, I definitely want to have confirmation from him. How are you feeling? I mean, it goes no different. I'll ask my teammates in the middle of an investigation, hey, is everybody still feeling okay? Because I want to know. But so far, he's got that nervous laugh, but he was okay.
Does anybody need to cross it over? Turn one way on.
So he's giving directions with the lights.
I feel like there's something on my lap. What is it? I feel like there's something sitting on my lap. You feel like?
Tammy and Barry want to say hey to you guys. So now he feels like there's somebody sitting in his lap. Something's going on. Now his voice is changing. He's talking a little bit quick now. I'm just going to back it up just a hair.
I feel like there's something on my lap. What is it? I feel like there's something sitting on my lap. You feel like there's somebody actually on your lap? Yes.
Hear the tone go out? Yes.
Well, I guess if you had a great beard, you could go for Santa Claus right now.
Trying to keep the humor in it, but he laughed. That's a positive.
Does it feel like a person or an animal? How big or small is it? A person. Okay.
Now this dog, or excuse me, this location, they've said that they've witnessed that they believe that there was a dog there, like a ghost dog. So did a ghost dog jump up in his lap? Is it a person? Is it a kid? Don't know until the person tells you. And so I'm trying to find out what is the size of the person that's there.
Is it pressing down, like weight? A little bit. Feel like a child or feel like an adult? Adult. You feel like an adult? Yes. Okay. I'm just coming to you.
Now, at this point, this is when things change dramatically for him, and that's when you're going to hear his voice completely go flat. It's going to go down. He's going to be really quick on his answer. When I ask, he's going to fire back an answer in a heartbeat, and then start listening for his breathing.
Is it pressing down, like weight? A little bit. Feel like a child or feel like an adult? Adult. You feel like an adult? Yes. Okay. I'm just coming to you. Back away from me right now. Tell me when it leaves. What's that? He said he ain't going. What is it? He said he ain't going.
So now whatever's on him is telling him it's not going. So to Mark, this is absolutely real. I don't care what anybody else in the world is thinking at the time. Right now, this is real. And if you're Mark, he'll go ahead and be the first to tell you it was very real for him. It doesn't matter if it's a demon. It doesn't matter if it's an entity. It doesn't matter if it's a grumpy ghost. It doesn't matter if it's just a spirit. I don't care what it is. He's being affected by it. Real quick shout out to Zlatica. If I said that wrong, I apologize. Welcome. So now here we are. Now it's telling him it's actually, he's hearing it. He might be hearing it in his head, however it is, but now it's trying to tell him it's not going. So that's very concerning.
He ain't going. Just bang him out. Move that around.
Don't pay attention to a couple things I say.
Only TV out there. Alright, where you're at.
I turn around, I'm grabbing some of the stuff that I use, such as holy water. I grab a few things out of my bag. At the same time, I'm paying attention to him. Some people will get up and bolt. People get He's being very reserved.
This is just water, okay? It's holy water. I command you in the name of Jesus Christ to move away from him right now. Remove yourself from him. This is just water, okay? It's holy water.
Like right now, I've got a jacket on. It is chilly. This place in the basement was definitely chilly. There's no reason for, and the bag had been sitting there for a little bit. So it wasn't anything hot I was throwing on him. Now start listening to his breath.
I command you in the name of Jesus Christ to move away from him right now. Remove yourself from him. Mark, take your hat off for a second. I'll place the sign of the cross on Mark's forehead. Sprinkle him with the shed blood of Jesus Christ. Him right now.
Listen to his breathing.
Remove yourself from him. Mark, take your hat off for a second. I'll place the sign of the cross on Mark's forehead. Sprinkle him with the shed blood of Jesus Christ. Encircle him in God's white light for protection. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us for our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever and ever. Spirit of God, the Father, the Son. Don't mind if I hold your hand here for a minute, just in case.
A lesson learned by far is when you have a person sitting down. Mark is bigger than me. He could have bounced me right out of the basement in a heartbeat. And unfortunately, I've been at locations with team members. Kimberly, you're on right now as well. So you can attest to it, where all of a sudden something else jumps in their mind and starts controlling them, and next thing you know, they want to beat you up. And Mark is definitely not a person I want to have beat me up, because he is a very big guy that would have fun doing it probably. So I appreciate him not doing that. Ideally, keeping him sitting down is awesome, and then actually putting my hand against, because he's got his arm, I'm on one side of him. I always try to stand to one side or the other. That way they can't come straight up at you. Normally they'll go ahead and hit you sideways. But keeping a hand on their arm, one, makes them feel better because you have contact with them, so they know that you're there, but at the same time you're protecting yourself, so if they swing, they're not going to go ahead and hit you with very much force, hopefully.
You okay? No.
Now he's not giggling back in a response. If I laugh, he's not laughing back.
The Father, the Son. Don't mind if I hold your hand here for a minute, just in case. You okay? No? Okay, listen to me. I'm going to make a noise, okay? You alright with that? Look at me. Look at me. Me. Up here. Relax. Ain't nothing got you. Relax. Talk. You do not have permission to be...
So at this point, I do a loud noise. Typically, if it's empathic, where they just are feeling something, I can break it with a loud noise. Anybody can do that. If you're in a location, and especially when it's a enclosed room, and you have somebody who starts skipping out a little bit mentally, try to do something that's going to stun them a little bit with a loud noise. You can use water, hit them with a little bit of water. A lot of times that'll have a little shock value to it. It works really well. I'll go back to a question, Nadia. I see your question. I'll answer you in just a moment. So that was why I clapped. I'm trying to get him to focus his attention to me. I want his attention to be off of whatever's around him and bring his attention to me. So I'm going, okay, look at me. Look up here, look at me. And I say it 4 or 5 times in a very short succession, because he's not looking up. He's still, now something's really got his attention. So it was bringing his attention away from it was really, really big. And again, I'm not playing this just so you can hear me do my little speech, whatever. Everybody's got their own way of doing it, and it's perfectly fine. If you don't, though, you want to have something, especially if you're a team member, especially a founder, somebody who's in charge of everybody. You really want to make sure that you're helping them out, or if you're treating a location, you want to make sure in case the client has an issue, you can help them out.
On or near this person anymore. You cannot influence Mark in any way, shape, or form. Remember that other person I was talking about? He's watching right now, Gilson. As far as what I said, stay seated. What's that? Gotcha.
He's saying he's got me.
Heavenly Father, Angel Paul, I ask you for your protection around Mark right now. Spirit of God, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the most holy Trinity, angels and archangels, and the saints of heaven, descend upon this house immediately and surround Mark with your energy and remove anything vicious, anything malicious, anything evil, any shape or form. Remove the influence from him immediately, please. This I pray upon. I beg you to remove anything away from him. In the name of Jesus Christ, remove any and everything that's malevolent in this location. Just breathe. It's okay. Who's on it? Who's on it?
That's Mark finally decompressing right there. That's just how quick it can change. Now he's back to laughing. So that's how quick you can tell, but it's a great indicator for if you're dealing with somebody who's been affected, knowing their personality really quick is a real big deal. Sorry, I'm going to jump and answer a few quick questions. Have I ever had anything follow me? Yes, I've had 2 attachments so far. Hopefully I won't have any more, but I remove attachments as well. So my wife's not too thrilled when I bring extra things home at all. I find out pretty quick. And she seems to know about it. She's Native American. She has a lot of ability as far as being able to pick up on that. So not a good thing. We've taken steps to alleviate that, which for us, we make sure we do an opening prayer, and we do a closing prayer. Closing prayer saying, okay, you have no more rights to interact with us, to communicate with us. We don't want to hear, see, or know anything from anybody else. It's really, really big. It works great for us. As far as during a cleansing question, during a cleansing, have I ever felt a location or a heated area, even without the sunlight? And the answer to that is no. I can't tell you honestly what it was. Everybody assumes that a negative location is going to have all negative energy, and that's not the case. There is a lot of positive energy around a negative location. Your loved ones, whoever, people watching over you, it doesn't matter how doom and gloom it seems. If you can just pay attention long enough, you'll get to see a little bit of the light. You will see somebody around you that is honestly trying to help you. Just, and God works in mysterious ways, they say, and trust me, if you do this long enough, you'll find out how true that is. Mark, since then, it was crazy real to him. There's no question about it. It was the most intense, but he had complete trust. I mean, that's the one thing. Mark, would you agree that you had trust in it? Did you think I was going to let anything happen to you? Kimberly, thanks for being on. Tracy, just cruising right on through. Leslie, hey, Bill, haven't seen you for a while. But Mark is doing fine now. He's doing perfectly fine. I appreciate that, Mark. I was a little worried, though, and that's why I actually asked you for your name, because when you were looking down, if anybody's seen Full Metal Jacket with the bathroom scene, when the guy kind of does that funny smile with the creepy eyes, that was, Mark, that was you at that point. Ken, thanks for being on, buddy. Appreciate it. Really, really interesting. I'm going to go ahead and play some. Now, that happened prior. And then what happens afterwards, again, the whole point of this was I was monitoring what the effects were on him, and when it got serious, I never left him. I kept saying I was going to leave him in isolation. I moved across the room. He could see me. As soon as his voice changed, I went ahead and went right back to him. I didn't want to leave him out there and have anything happen to him. And that's something we really need to pay attention to. But afterwards, I went ahead and we took him upstairs. He was fine. Took him out, let him get some fresh air, relax, because that's part of the seeds we planted was as soon as we get you outside of the house, nothing can bother you, and that's a really big deal to us. So we did that, and then we went ahead and I talked to Bonnie and said, okay, this is the plan. This is what we're going to formulate. We're going to go ahead and do a cleansing now. We're not going to wait. It's already shown itself, so we want to go ahead and get moving with it. For anybody that did not see last week's ParaTalk, I'm telling you, if you have not seen this, this is the craziest part, and I want to set the pace for you. When I moved Mark out of there, I left the camera. I said, guys, I'm going to leave this. Basically consider it a live static cam. It's going to be on. I'll be back down here shortly. The camera runs. Anybody watching can attest. Every once in a while, you'd hear a knock. Bam! Something. Somewhere close to the camera. Can't tell you where it was, but I can hear it on the recorders. I've got the camera recording, and I have two of my recorders on opposite sides of the room recording as well. And this is what the audio that I'm going to play here in just a moment is from. It's from one of the recorders. So the camera's watching, the viewers are watching through that. I'm upstairs. I just get finished cleansing the entire top floor. I went ahead, first room I did was for the clients because they were all huddled in that room. I want to make sure I clean that up for them, make sure they have no issues. And now I'm going to push down, and I get to the stairs, and the client's got her phone behind me, and it's making a lot of noise, and I keep hearing these voices. Get out, get out, get out. And I was like, what are you listening to, or who are you listening to? And she said, Bonnie, she's down in the basement. I did not realize Bonnie had gone to the basement. We can hear this, and she's hearing it on her phone through the camera that's in front of Bonnie. The whole point is Bonnie hears none of this conversation. She hears none of this that's going on. So I want to play a clip for you. It's a little bit louder, so hopefully you can hear it a little bit better. But all of this noise is going on. This actually goes on for a couple of minutes. I've just got a small little clip. All this noise goes on for a couple of minutes with all this, which you'll see. It's not Bonnie walking. She sits down and the noise is just at its peak, just going crazy. There's no movement going on. There's no apps being played. There's no spirit box being used. It just is crazy. And I'm going to play that for you. Which one? Now, it was loud. It was crazy loud. That's calmed down, so I'm not blowing everybody's ears out. But it was absolutely incredibly loud. Now, the neat part is, and this is where it really blows it out, because there's a phenomena, the EVP. And EVP is electronic voice phenomena. Electronic voice phenomena, which most of you guys already know. Basically, if we have a recorder running and I'm there, or just Bonnie's there, and she doesn't hear anything, then she plays the recorder back and hears something, it's an EVP. How did somebody scream into the recorder that she did not hear it at the time? That's what makes it a phenomena. The awesome part is people got to watch the phenomena or listen to the phenomena happen. Again, Bonnie didn't hear anything, but on the recorder it's here. How do you explain that one? Love to know that one. Mark was pointing out the fact that Mark had a wonderful everybody that was there that night, and it was probably not just the paranormal hangover, Mark. It's probably my fault from saging so much, but I use a lot of sage. Everybody that was there definitely had a headache that night or the next day, the entire day. You're drained and you feel, oh man, your head is just rocking. And that's just a paranormal, what we call a paranormal hangover, but it doesn't help to have so much sage going on. Daniel, thanks for being on. Sam, thanks for being back. she just sat down, and again, Bonnie just sat down, and she's like, okay, guys, I'm here. Bonnie can hear and or see spirits. I can't. So she just figured, hey, while Rob's up there, I'm going to go downstairs. If any of them need to be calmed down, I can help calm them down, whatever. So she just sits down in the chair like no big deal. But remember, this has been going on for a couple of minutes. As soon as Bonnie, you can hear the floorboards creak when Bonnie goes over to the door. As soon as she hits those steps, the voice starts up, and it's really low. And when you watch it on the software, you can just, you watch it elevate and just how much louder it gets. And it's pretty cool when you can actually look at it on the software. You can definitely hear it. It's how much more elevation it gets, and it's all directed at Bonnie at that whole time. I thought that was incredible. Yeah, it was. It later on, and to the point, somebody was talking about how they even thought it was a dog or something being beat or something when you actually listen to it. It was very loud. It was obnoxiously loud. It was going off very, very much. And again, as she got closer into the room, it kept going louder. Some people thought it was feedback from equipment playing. There was no equipment playing. The only part that you actually hear anything really going on, she has her phone at one point, and you can hear her delay, but it's not. That's definitely not the voice, and that wasn't until afterwards do you actually hear a small little clip of that in the middle of it. It was absolutely stunning. I'm just reading the replies behind, so I apologize. Freddie, by the time you got there, buddy, I appreciate it, but that was a long drive. When I sage, I assure you, there's not a speck area in the house that does not smell like sage and is not just got an incredible amount of smoke all over the place. I'm going to play a couple other clips. They're not from the same location, but I want to play them so you have a little bit. I'm going to play Bonnie's one more time. So you can hear that elongated gouch. I mean, it was doing everything it could to throw it at Bonnie to say, hey, one, if when it goes after Mark, Mark's the biggest guy in the house. If it can scare Mark to get out of there, hopefully, obviously, would not continue the cleansing process. We wouldn't come down to the basement. While I'm cleansing, all of a sudden, here comes Bonnie. So there was another threat. It figured if it could chase Bonnie out of there, hopefully neither her nor I would go back down to the basement. And it was just doing anything it could to try to go ahead and scare anybody it could. So you can hear whenever, again, without something demonic actually using a body or anything, the voice is a lot more elevated. It's a lot higher. If you've listened to any of the possessions of a couple of different ones, like Emily, you could hear the different tones and how high they can go. This one didn't have a body to use, and these are different locations. One's from Utah, one's from Maryland, another one's from West Virginia. They're really high and hard to understand. just catching up again. Marcy, thank you so much, Marcy. Appreciate that very much. It is a lot of noise, and for the most part, most of the time, it's one in particular that's there. Not everything, and I'm not saying that everything's demonic or anything else, but you don't even have to have a demon. I mean, you can have just a grumpy ghost goes and has the ability to actually hit somebody. Everybody can lose their mind if you don't watch it, and that's a problem. Bill, you keep it up. I'm going to send one of them to your house. Keep it up. He says, better not come through his phone. Oh, you're killing me. Craig, good to have you on, buddy. Good to have you. It's just really interesting when you start dealing with something like that. I love, boy, if we could find any more locations, any locations we can find like that, we definitely love to go to, because that is a lot of fun. Not fun so much for the clients at the time. Mark, looking back, would you change it? You know, or are you, obviously you're the one that had to deal with that experience. Not saying you want to go through that experience again, but to get it out of your brother's house, was it worth it? Let me ask you that. That's a straight question from me to you. Was it worth getting it out of your brother's house so they didn't have to be affected anymore? You guys are a trip. Anybody that has a team, or if you're on a team, you're more than welcome to always go ahead and tag your team on here. I love giving shout outs to teams. If you have a paranormal event that's coming up, please feel free to go ahead and put the link up. It does not bother me. We're out to network with everybody that's on here. I'm going to give you a little bit of ideas as far as for the cleansing side of it. And even with this, I'm just giving you my point of view and what works for me. Everybody has their own different beliefs, their own points of view, and those are all perfectly fine. For me, what I'm using is I'm definitely using, I use prayers. Mine is more Christian based. It's not 100%. I have some beliefs and some beliefs some things I don't believe in. But at the same time, when I'm doing it live, a real big deal when I'm live is if anybody, regardless of what their religious beliefs are, if they can help remotely while I'm live, I'll take it. I mean, why not? The bottom line is whatever's going to make the client feel better is ultimately what I'm looking for. Sorry, Sam, I'll get to yours in just a second since I move it back. Can they travel with your equipment? Yeah, can they travel with pretty much anything? Let me give you an example of that real quick, Sam, since you brought it up. Mark can attest to this. Unfortunately, they had guests over at their house that night, and they had a few people there, and they went downstairs prior to us getting there. And since then, when we got to the location, we saw there was a few other people there and talked to them. They went ahead and left really early. They didn't want to complicate anything, so they went ahead and went on back over to their house. The problem is afterwards, once they've gotten to their house, we've been working on this house, and now all of a sudden they turn around and have a daughter was pushed down. I think she was pushed or pushed down. A bed was moving. Voices being heard. Heat vents suddenly falling out of the wall. I mean, really, come on. Something doesn't sound right there. And what happens is we're going to a location. If there's something there that truly knows that we're a threat, that we can remove it, why not just move with somebody else to another house? And unfortunately, that's a good possibility of what might have occurred at that location. So can they move with equipment? I would say yes. Yourself, your property. When we say nothing has any permission to go with us, we include our property with that as well. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. And again, man, hats off to you, because there's not too many people that would have been willing to go through that, and I appreciate your willingness to do anything it took. Zara, long time. Glad to have you on. Fortunately, Bonnie helped me out dramatically when it came to the cleansing process. When it comes to cleansing, a couple of things, a couple of steps to understand is, one, you need to have the mentality behind it. You want it, you're in your mind, you understand that this smoke is going to get rid of anything negative, and you really need to believe. Your belief has a lot to do with it. Just saying you believe and you don't, not going to help you out very much. I use sage bundles. These are a lot smaller. I know I've seen some that look like they were made by Cheech and Chong, which would be great. But simple sage bundle, typically I use more than one. It usually takes two, possibly three at locations, because we are going to smoke the heck out of the place, quite literally. I mean, it's going to be a lot of smoke going on. Normally I have a abalone shell, and I'm blowing on it, and you have to watch when you blow it, because it really goes. You light it on fire first, let the flames try to get the end of it pretty well hot, lit up pretty well, and then you blow it out, and the ambers will go ahead and continue to go smolder and really smoke up really well. Well, I tend to blow on it, and that really, I mean, it's almost, it's a smoke blower instead of a flamethrower. I mean, it's pretty awesome that it blows out, but you have to watch. Every once in a while it will pop, and you don't want that to hit you in the face. That's the only downside to it. Sam, it's needed to be learned if that's what you're dealing with. Getting experience is huge for anybody, and I think that's the big part of it. The first and foremost is for everybody. If sage is an excellent protection, it's an excellent way to go ahead and cleanse. I use white sage, use the bundles, and I'll start and I work counterclockwise in a room. I usually take the farthest room or the highest, and then I'll work down, or vice versa if I'm doing the entire house. If you're doing it for one particular, if you're the client, you're scared and things are happening, typically what I will do is, if I can't get there right away, I'll send you some sage and some holy water. And I have directions that I give out on this. By all means, I'll walk anybody through it. But if you just go to your bedroom or your kid's bedroom, whoever's really, really scared about it, you can walk in there, you light this up, watch your smoke detectors, start working from counterclockwise around. You're just going to, I have things that you'll end up saying as far as simple prayers you're going to do. I always claim it as God's territory. Nothing that's not of God's love is allowed to enter this room. I'll take the holy water. I'm placing a cross at any entrance to the room or exit, such as a window, even a faucet area if there's a drain in the bathroom, and all the mirrors. And I really smoke up the room really well, and I create the barrier by placing the crosses throughout. Once you do that room, you can move from there and continue on. But you need to make sure even the closets, if you have a small cabinet, open up the cabinet, blow it down inside the cabinet. Pretend that there's something small trying to hide from you. That's one of the most important things you can do. Mark, I definitely appreciate that very much. Unfortunately, you got myself and Bonnie. I didn't even have a crew there with you. So that was really cool of you to go ahead and help out. So I'll turn around, like I say, I place the sign of the cross. That's my technique. If you've got something else that works well, great. If you don't have any technique, you might want to pay attention to that part. As you go through, you want to read through the prayers that I have. It's pretty simple, straightforward. You'd end up reading through. Just make sure you hit the room really well. If you have a bank of windows and they got all the tiny little panes of window, you don't have to do every individual pane. You know, you just take the one main window and you go ahead and put the sign of the cross and do it, and work your way around. If you at least just did that in a location where either yourself or your kids were having, their sleep was being interrupted or something was terrifying them, why not take a step to go the right direction? I mean, if that turns around and takes care of your issue to start with, at least gives them that little sanctuary area, that's a big deal. Anything negative wants to break down your sleep. And there's nothing worse than having kids that are absolutely terrorized of their room. Do you bury crosses in ground all corners? Sam, great question. I've had locations, there's been a couple locations where I have doubled up or tripled up. I've been worried. I want to make sure everything's going to work. I've done it live. I turn around and say, hey, if you can help remotely, and I don't care what your religion is, and you can help make this place safe, great. And I've gone through as far as to go ahead and actually place blessed metals, whether it was medallions or crosses or anything else, and I've placed them on all four corners. That I have done. I'll be the first to tell you, I have no problem using whatever it's going to take to make that house better for that client and his family, his or her family. Some people do salt corners. I don't use the, oh, Bill's going to come up. Get out of here. Well, this is something you guys can all watch then and be part of, because I've yet to hear back from. I went ahead. They were worried about things, and I was waiting for them to contact me back. The house that the something else jumped over to, so want to see what's going on. And if Bill's coming up, that we're definitely doing live. That would be fun. Bill's a character. He'll have a lot of fun with it. And matter of fact, we'll go ahead and let Bill do the isolation. That fair, Bill? The small crosses, there's plenty of different, literally buy them as far as anywhere. You can get them online as far as getting your crosses, getting them blessed. I definitely would use them blessed. Any type of crosses that you use. There you go. I appreciate that, Pam. Asthma. People with asthma, and if you have birds, you have to watch. The sage is a very heavy smoke, and it will go ahead and irritate people as far as with asthma. They actually have a spray that is sage, and it works. It really does work. You're just going to use a lot of it. So, Pam, you can end up using the spray. Look it up, sage spray, and it will not affect you like the smoke will, but it's very effective. Normally, if I'm going to go ahead and get something blessed, I'm getting quite a few things blessed at the same time. Hey, the more the merrier. Can't hurt. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Can you let her know where you picked up that white sage spray at? That'd be great. Yeah, I've read the stuff in the online too, where you see where the people take lemons, and you want to see whether or not it absorbs the negativity or anything. Never seen lemons or anything like that really honestly stop the negative if you have a real negative force in there. And again, we're talking about when something's truly negative. There are plenty of times when it's somebody's imagination, and that's one of the things we're in there to debunk. We're trying to find out, are they actually creating it or not? So I don't want to get off the wrong topic on that. Make sure I cover that part. Having salt lamps is good. It's not going to hurt anything. Salt is a pure mineral. It's the purest mineral, and that's why it works so well. You're responding to Bonnie. As far as filling up container, I think she's talking about holy water. Find out. Bill, if you're coming up, buddy, you can have your choice. If you want to do isolation, you decide you want to do it while you're there. That's all good. We'll just get the blindfold out for you. I'm sorry, I was just catching up and reading. Cheryl was just talking about where she did an investigation. You used extra holy water before entering the basement. Again, I'm very fortunate because I have an excellent, Shay, what's up, Shay? I have an excellent medium on my team as well, and she wasn't able to make this one. She was definitely between her work, and then she was feeling under the weather, which may or may not have been really her feeling under the weather, or something else telling her or trying to make her feel under the weather. But she was able to read the location first, so I knew what to prepare for. That helps out a lot. Bill, I'm not sure. What were you asking of somebody who has it and what it is that you're looking for? Good morning, Shay. Glad you woke up and joined us. Again, I'm just catching up on all the comments right now, so I apologize for not answering. All right, cool. A couple more clips. Just want to play a couple more clips for you. This one is, some people have heard it before, but this is an EVP. This is not a spirit box. There's no apps on. This was caught while the clients were asleep. She's screaming, "Stop looking at me." Next time I ask you to move, you move. Fix and be tied. Sam, to answer your question, have you seen demons trying to cast them? The answer is no, I've not seen. I have one clip when we were at the Masonic Temple, and we were actually coming out of where we had a demon at. I know Janie was on here; she can attest to this. And if you actually, Janie was our medium. She was on at the location, and it was picking on her, and it would even go around and actually try to knock like behind her legs, knock her knees, so she'd fall down or anything. I'm so skeptical. I will actually go ahead and go frame by frame just to see, was Janie's reaction natural? Was she trying to do it? And again, I love her to death. She's like a sister to me. I'm critical about everybody that's around me. So if you take offense to that, you don't want to be around me. I'm always just trying to understand how can it really be happening. And we end up catching, by going frame by frame, there's one shadow, a very black human shadow, and that's it. It's only in one frame that we've ever caught. That's the only thing I've seen that was where this location had a demon at. That's the closest I've gotten to being able to see one. I don't see them. Janie is phenomenal. I've had her actually describe what they looked at. We had one location that was phenomenal. When every time she stepped into a particular pathway, she would see it from its eyes. Her eyes would all of a sudden, she says, my eyes are huge, you know, they're much bigger. And then I would have her, when Janie's in that role, I will turn around, and I'm very big on asking questions. I want to know, you know, when she looks at her hands, there's no nails there. The purple like leather, the feet, there's no toes there. And it's like the back of your foot is the front of your foot, basically hoof-like feet. When she looked inside, she could see that the chest just went straight down. The rib cage was there, and it just went straight inside. Very graphic. It was awesome to be able to find that information. I love when you guys invest with us from home. That's cool. That works out really well. So that last clip that I just played, again, that was just, it was residual. It was basically frozen in the environment. It wasn't anybody doing it at the time. They weren't interacting with us. Somebody had thrown a fit in the past and kind of left it on the, imprinted it on the environment, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, Janie can actually see real. I mean, she sees real. She can see when they're there. She knows when they're there. They will try to pretend that there's something else. Multiple times we've had locations where something negative or demonic has tried to pretend to be something, like a 14-year-old girl at one location, which is the one I was talking about at the temple. Thank you very much, Freddie. I appreciate the countdown. Father-in-law is a grumpy old man. It depends on how well you know him. Sam, I don't think it's so much that they choose for who. I don't think they have an option for who gets to see them. I think some people are more open. Like, again, even with people with abilities, some people have the, just because you have abilities don't mean you actually see them. Some people will know what they look like in their head. Some people will, with abilities, only get vibrations, but they get so in tune to those vibrations they can tell what's around them. Especially when you're talking about demons or something extremely negative, they don't like when a medium can see them, because he or she is giving away too much information. Janie, when we go to a location like that, she will repeat whatever it's saying. She's not staying there. She's not looking to fight the thing. She just wants to back up and go, okay, it's over there. Good luck. You're on your own. She's more vulnerable. Most people that have abilities become more vulnerable because it knows that you having abilities can see, feel, or sense them. So it might try to play in your head a lot more than it would other people. Let me go through these comments really quick. Again, I apologize. Christy, great to see you on. The last one that was screaming, it wasn't anything bad. Yeah, all of us are grumpy. I don't know what happened to, for some reason the comments just keep absolutely dropping. So I apologize if I did not answer. your comments. I will be getting back to everybody's comments. I'll go back through this evening and actually go through and try to make sure I answer anybody that I've missed. I sincerely apologize. Anybody I missed. Oh my gosh, it's Bill. Ask the spirit. Why did I have to check his? Never mind. Yeah, you're definitely going to isolation, Bill. I can't wait to have you up here. That'd be great. Definitely have to. So again, thanks everybody for today. I'm going to get ready to jump off here. Apologize again that I was by myself, so I couldn't really answer everybody's comments, but I always appreciate these interactions that we have. They're always casual, they're unscripted, they're interactive, and that's what makes them so awesome. If you did not get a chance to check out last week's, I made a little bit of a condensed video on that that's worth checking out. It's the Pusher House. What you see is real. It was fantastic, and as it happened, it was amazing to see. Absolutely amazing. So with that, I'm jumping off here. Love and light to everybody out there. Hope you guys get a chance to check us out again next Sunday. Love and light. We're out. Bye.